Welcome to today's class. In my last video, Music Tutorials 1, I took time to explain the 4 properties of sound, which include pitch, intensity or amplitude, duration, and timbre. And it may trace you to know that music is simply organized sound and not noise. And noise is simply unorganized sound. But let me ask you, or do you know how we can notate music? How these sounds can be represented on paper? And so today I want to teach you musical notation. Follow me. I decided to write this on the board so that you can easily follow. When we notate music, we use symbols that show 3 of the 4 properties of sound I either mentioned, and they include the pitch, the intensity, and duration. Don't forget that pitch has to do with the lowness or highness of a tone. And intensity is simply the loudness or the softness of the pitch. And duration has to do with the length of time. Now, when we notate music, these 3 properties of sound, pitch, intensity, and duration, can easily be identified. But timbre is not easily identified. Why? Because timbre can easily be known when the music is played. For example, when you notate a piece of music, if you play that on the piano, the timbre will be that of the piano, the sound quality. If what you notate is played on the violin, the timbre will be that of the violin, the tone quality. So when you notate music, don't forget the 3 properties are represented, which are pitch, intensity, and duration. Let me take you further. In music notation, still, pitches are represented by symbols, notes, positioned on a staff and identified with letter names. And those letters are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In other words, let me use other words to explain. Musical sounds are explained by characters called notes, which are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet, thus A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the notes are written upon what is termed the stave or staff. And a stave or staff consists of 5 horizontal lines and spaces. And let me illustrate that on the board. Okay, it can easily be seen on the board now. I said that a stave or staff consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces. You can be seen here. You have the lines and you can also have the spaces. And the lines and spaces are numbered upward from the lowest to the highest. In this one, this is now the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line, this is the 4th line, and this is the 5th line. And this can be referred to as the lines. If you look at this one, which I can now call the space, or spaces if you want, this is space number 1, space number 2, space number 3, and space number 4. Now, having this knowledge is not just enough, because they may not tell you clearly what you need. And the names of the notes are determined by the clef by which is placed at the commencement of the stave. Now, let me repeat this again. I said earlier that those letters I mentioned, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, are written on stave. And you may not know those names unless there is what we call a clef. And let me say again that the names of the notes are determined by the clef which is placed at the commencement. A clef is always placed at the commencement of the stave or staff. And there are various cleves, and I want us to discuss it now. Now, clef is simply a symbol placed at the staff to identify a reference note. I repeat myself. The clef is a symbol placed at the staff to identify a reference. It is always placed at the beginning, at the commencement. And you can have the samples of the various clefs we have. This one is known as the treble clef. It is also known as the G clef. Very soon you will know why it is called the G clef. It looks like this. The next one you see here is called C clef or movable clef. I will explain that when I place this on the stave. That means this can be moved. Wherever the middle C touches will determine where or which it represents. The movable clef can be used as alto clef, as tenor clef, as baritone clef. I will soon illustrate that. The next one is the bass clef, which is also called the F clef. And we are going to understand more. I'm going to illustrate again how these clefs are used. Yes, this is a table that can show at a glance all clefs indicating their middle Cs. The first one you have here is called treble clef, and the middle C is indicated here. You will know this in my next class. The next clef is the movable clef. I said the name is derived from where they are placed. If this movable clef is placed on the first line, it is for the soprano. It's called soprano clef with the middle C on the first line. If this movable clef is placed on the second line, and now the second line becomes the middle C, then it is called mezzo-soprano clef. If this movable clef is placed on the third line, it is called alto clef. If this movable C is placed on the fourth line, which is also the middle C for it, it is called the tenor clef. If this movable clef is placed on the fifth line, it is called baritone clef. And the next one is the bass clef with the middle C here. The one I did not mention, which let me mention now, is the rhythm or the neutral clef. If you want to play instruments of indefinite pitches, you can use this clef to score for instruments. It is called rhythm or neutral clef. In my next class, I will use this clef, especially the treble clef and the bass clef, to illustrate and to mention the names of the lines and spaces earlier mentioned. And you should know in vocal music, most times you use the treble clef for solo works. If it is for tenor or for bass, we use the bass clef. If it is for a choir, most times they use the treble clef and the bass clef. If you are playing the piano, most times you use the treble and the bass clef. If you are playing viola, you use the alto clef. In my next class, I will tell you names of the lines and spaces with regards to the clef. And don't forget, the names of the notes are determined by the clef which is placed at the commencement of the stave. Thank you for staying put. I am your regular teacher. My name remains Dr. Isaac Udoh, an Associate Professor of Music. Do not forget to hit the subscription button. Thank you.